Just a little quick overview of what we've gone through. We had from our first speaker, Mr. Ashish Rakheja from the Aeon Group of Industries. He spoke about how buildings should be approached for the right construction. And then he listed out a whole host of checkpoints that we should go through ultimately, which can lead to reduction in energy consumption by as much as 40% or even more. And ultimately he also talks of a net zero position with solar building up the balance 50 or 60%. Then the next speaker was Mr. Atul Das, who spoke on renewable energy, and that too the solar energy. And what was most interesting was the exploitation of solar potential is very minimal today. So he's spoken of the challenges and how we are going to do it. And then the third speaker is, of course, our very venerated scientist, Mr. Guru Vittal ji. From the CRRI, he spoke of the degree of difficulty in constructing the border road in the Kutch area. And with this little preview, we now request for any questions that our distinguished delegates may like to be addressed to.
In MES, he was talking about the solar panels on the rooftop. In fact, we architects would love to have it on that. But what would happen if we send this to MOD? Have we taken that into consideration? Most important is we have to work towards that.
Mr. Das.
Ma'am, in MES the concept has already been introduced. In GE Avadi, the project has been successfully executed, and in Leh, already in the cookhouse, there it has been provided. There are many stations it is coming. And to your kind information, in the AMWP 14-15, already there are some projects sanctioned and under execution. And 15-16, there is a 90 megawatts projects have been included for solar. So we are making use of the roof area.
Actually, many of them don't know about this. People who are away from ENC's branch and who are in the other chief engineer's office do not know about it. So this should be propagated and at least put in some magazine. That would be a better way of creating awareness among people.
So this is the platform. You are rightly said so.
Right. I think you've resolved.
I just want to add a small thing. What Madam has said and what Aruldas sir has said, that's why we have made DIPM Council of India. Wherein without conflict of interest, because what the ministry looks in, since I am working in the ministry and in an autonomous body, I know how the ministry looks in. They looks into the conflict of interest free advice. If the IDSC also says this thing, that it is not conflict of interest free. That's why the DIPM Council of India concept has emerged, one. Second thing, as Madam has said and Aruldas sir has said, that's why we are sitting here and we'll be holding frequent conference. Let us believe it. We'll have the frequent conference and we'll have every 6 month DIPM journal. Not a seminar book, it will be a journal. So I request all of us, because all of us have got so much of capabilities, and let's convince the Ministry of Defense, come out of a scale of accommodation concept. A scale of accommodation concept was made when things were not there actually. So this is just was made to help the engineers, what I feel, because I was in E2WPPC. So let's come out of the scale of accommodation in a different way, advise the ministry through the council of the people, which will have the professional from all walks of life. This is my suggestion, which I feel very strongly. Thank you.
Yeah, very strong suggestion, right, Mr. Pradeep Agarwal. We have a question coming from that end.
The solar panels have installed, they are just like a showpiece. No one knows whether they are functioning or not, because always there is a backup with the solar panel. So actually the hot water, anything is working on the backup. So we have to find out some solution where we ensure that the solar panels actually, they work on ground. They are not only as a showpiece. Some system has to be developed for that.
Yeah, Mr. Rakheja, would you like to answer it, or Mr. Das only?
I can comment on it. We've come across many of these issues when these technology-oriented things are installed in the buildings or at a site or at locations. And the maintenance and operation of these is always a challenge. So my suggestion will always be that the manufacturers or the suppliers who have been involved in supplying it, you should enter into a long-term maintenance contract or operation contract with them. At the time of awarding the work, the scales are so large, they would be willing to bend backwards and give you any kind of service that you're looking for.
Mr. Das, would you like to supplement what?
I will.
Mr. Rakheja
Before
said?
that, there is one question by Shri B.P. Jain, Director Planning, Chief Engineer FO Salahabad, Palam. This is, he wants to comment on the effect of solar panels on environment and ecology in the surroundings. Solar panels have been designed to take care of the environment and ecology in the surroundings. What is required is only a shadow-free area and nothing else. And as regards Mr. Shivam, Chief Engineer retired, sir, the maintenance of the solar panel is the least. You have to only, dusting is done periodically. Nothing else is required. That panels, the glass panel, all very strong, and it doesn't require any maintenance. For 25 years, you can just ignore it. It is a least maintenance panel. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr.
But I
Guru
think it's a
Vittal.
little beyond that. Little bit of design and engineering has to be foolproof, because this is a problem which is faced all across the solar panels which have been put up.
Now the technology has tremendously improved, and all these small irritants which were there earlier have been taken care of.
Right.
Yeah, I have a small comment and a question for Mr. Guru Vittal. So, we have been closely associated with CRRI when we were working on stability of slopes at Port Blair and Andaman Nicobar Islands. They are very, very fragile islands and with very, very young geology. So there we have tried various type of geofabrics for stability of slopes. But even though roads and small portions we are able to succeed, but when there are large slopes involved, it is very difficult to control it with the help of geofabrics and geosynthetics. So we had a seminar that time on the eco-friendly solutions for stability of slopes. So then we were really confused whether the geosynthetics are actually eco-friendly or not, and what is the effect of those geosynthetics which you use long-term basis on the earth which you are using. So can you just throw some light on that?
So, thank you, sir. There are two issues, sir. One is that the stability of the slopes which are unstable, maybe in Andaman Islands or maybe in Himalayas, we need a comprehensive solution. Only the geosynthetics will not be able to do. We need a very detailed investigation, and then the solution has to be comprehensive, because it may be to retain the slope, or even if the slope fails, to see that whatever the failed material or whatever the rockfall is there, it should not come and affect this thing. So we may be having active measures, and there are two types: active measures and passive measures. So the type of mitigation measures, it needs to be designed properly. That is the first issue, sir. Taking into account the detailed geological aspects also. That is the first point. Then coming to the environmental friendliness of this materials, which geosynthetic materials, sir, in my opinion, there are two types of geosynthetic materials are available. One will be a agro-based and another is polymeric based. So this agro-based, of course, if you are looking at it only as a erosion control measure, the agro-based, of course, that would be the better one, and it promotes the growth of vegetation, and eventually it biodegrades also. But if we are looking at the geosynthetic material, not only as a erosion control measure, but sometimes we use it as a reinforcement also, sir, soil reinforcement. So in such a situation, definitely we require the polymeric material, because it will add to the strength of the in situ soil. So we require a polymeric type of material which will act as a reinforcement. Maybe Dr. Chandan Ghosh he may also like to add further if he.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes,
Sir,
one.
Yes,
sorry to
kindly.
inter-
My question is to Mr. Rakheja. You see, you have mentioned about the IGBC certification of the green buildings or the whatever built environment. Government is promoting Graha. Why there is a conflict? Or you did
Right.
mention about the Graha.
I did mention about Griha also.
Okay.
I said it doesn't matter whether it's Griha or it's IGBC. At the end of the day, they're all promoting the same objective. It's all green buildings. If you look at the body of both the codes or both the standards, they're exactly the same. They follow the same principles which I had shown in that in the presentation. And what I had also said was that whether it's on Griha 5-star or it's IGBC Platinum, the building would have got what's appearing at right at the top without spending anything extra. So it doesn't matter. There is no conflict, I would say. I'd say at the end of the day, it's a greater objective both of them are working towards.
Okay.
I mean, who calculated and what basis was 7,000 ton calculated? How did you achieve the reduction to that extent, which is very huge? Was it reduced or was it supplemented using the underground air pipes? Can you give a small breakup and one or two key factors which can help buildings to reduce their air conditioning demand, which unfortunately happens to be the biggest energy guzzler today?
Sure, I can answer. Do you want me to answer now or later?
Straight away, just
It's the last question.
Yeah,
Now you can
okay.
answer.
Okay. You were right in saying that I rushed through the slide. In fact, in that slide, there was a step-by-step reduction also, which I had shown. From 7,000, it fell down to 6,000, 5,000, 4,000. The last bit of reduction came by putting a district energy system, by which we were able to take care of the overall diversities that when they were actually, the site was a combination of residence, office, and a hotel. So when the office building used to peak in terms of the air conditioning requirement, the residence air conditioning used to go down. When residence was peaking in the night time, the offices used to go down. So there was a reduction which I had shown on account of that too happening there. How we started with that was we took a building which
Rakheja, I think then we
Sure.
can cover it up during
I
the
think
lunch
that's what I
period. Okay, right, thank you. My co-chairperson, Mr. Rajkumar, and all the three wonderful speakers who gave very illuminating talks on their specific subjects. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much. Before we conclude the session, I would request the chairperson to kindly present mementos to our eminent speakers. Speaker panel. Go. Speaker. Speaker. अब ले chair and go chair. ले आओ फिर उसको लेके. Chair का. I now request Srimati Mala Mohan to kindly present a memento to our co-chair person for this session. I would now request Mr. A.K. Arora, Director General Purse of MAS, to kindly present a memento to the chairperson. Thank you very much, all. Thank you, sir.